Anyway, so I've seen Tickled.
Yes. So, and did you manage to keep pretty spoiler-free?
Oh, actually, that's a really good point. I had started watching the trailer, but stopped it probably midway through, maybe even a bit before that, sort of like once he got the trailer shows him getting the sort of homophobic reply to his Facebook message, and you see some of the weird tickling videos where he kind of jokes about how weird it was because the videos actually look pretty gay.
Yeah.
And I think that's... Maybe watched a little bit further than that, but that around that point is where I stopped it because I got the sense that it was going to go down some sort of weird rabbit hole. So, going in, I was pretty spoiler-free in terms of the direction it took.
Cool.
Because I knew that it took a weird turn, but I assumed the turn would be to do with, like, the sexual nature of the videos, and be due to, like, the really aggressively... like homophobic response to his message. I thought it would turn into some like gay scene that they were like there was some like homosexual or closeted homosexual that was running it that was really scared to be like outed as someone that was into this like weird gay tickling scene. So I thought it would like spiral down that way and turn into like a weird sexual thing. Which is, I mean, I guess that's a tiny part of where it sort of goes, but that's
there's a bit of that,
really where it goes. But yeah, I loved it so much. Like, maybe it was just because I didn't know what to expect, but man, my jaw really was just like dropping so many times during this film. I had so much fun. It was, I mean, it actually gets quite sinister towards the end.
It does,
serious and weird. But I love that also. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to fault it in a weird way. Like, we were talking about this after we've seen the film. Like, what more do you want? Like, I find documentaries hard to sort of grade or like as a medium, or I don't know. But I think this sort of hits all my sweet spots. Like, it's super interesting. It delves into like territory that I'm not aware of, so it's informative. But then it's funny at the same time. So it's really entertaining. But at the same time feels like it's almost important in a way, like it's shedding light on and exposing something that like should be known, like that. I mean, I guess if we're recording this, we should say stop listening now and just go see the film, because this will be spoilerific. Yeah, totally. But like once you find out about the dude that's running it all, like he's a nasty piece of shit, and like it made me feel so good that they stood up and was like, fuck you, we're not going to like bow to your bullying tactics, and we're just going to show the world like how much of an asshole you are to people. Like, it felt important in that way, you know? I don't know, I loved it so much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so glad you liked it. I mean, I knew you would, of course, but it's... because I like tickling so much.
Yeah, well, you are a big fan, I know, and you've talked about starting up a website many times, so I hope you learned a lot. But yeah, you know, it's one of those docos like Catfish, where you don't know where it's going, and it just keeps, like, you're going down this rabbit hole, and it's just like gets stranger and stranger, and as you said, your jaw keeps dropping, and you're on the edge of the seat the whole time, because it just like takes a left turn just when you start to think you know where it. Just when you start to think you know where it's going. Something happens, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. But like, and
it's great.
What actually impressed me the most, or maybe not the most, but what really sort of like made me rate it really highly is towards the end. Like, I was having such a great time, and I thought, as I said, like, this is important in its own way. This is really great. Fuck this guy. Like, I hope he gets all the shit that's coming to him. You know, this is, I want to fucking, as soon as I come out of the cinema, I want to like somehow help these guys fucking bring this guy to justice. But then they have that like scene where they're in the car and they call his like stepmother, and she talks about like his past and how like shitty his childhood was, and how sort of like fucked up his upbringing. Well, not necessarily fucked up like in terms of parenting, but like he, you know, he was ridiculed and bullied, and I don't know, it just humanized him in a way, and in no way did it make his actions okay. Like the things he did was horrible and despicable, and he deserves every bit of the shit that gets thrown at him after this. But I was really impressed that they took the time to at least flesh him out a little way. Like I feel like so many this is a little bit of a tangent, but something like Making a Murderer, which I really liked on Netflix, that whole series was super interesting and super controversial, but the stuff that sort of came out afterwards didn't feel like it was a balanced portrayal of that character. Like it felt like the makers of that film that series had an agenda, and they pushed their view and ignored, even if their view is right, which it probably is, they ignored certain things that muddied it slightly. Whereas I felt like it was such a responsible move, particularly given how personal the Tickled is. Like they get personally attacked. Like I'm surprised they even bothered to put anything like that in, given how they were treated by this guy. But they at least took a few minutes to sort of flesh him out a little bit and say he's not just this fuckhead. Like he's actually a person that went through this shit, but he shouldn't be doing this because it's despicable. Do you know what I mean? Like I was just that raised it to another level. I got so much more respect for that documentary after that little bit. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but I really
no, I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That was a really great moment, and it's just like one phone call where the stepmother just divulges all of this information. It would be very different if they didn't have that single, if she didn't answer the phone at that time when they were filming, the whole thing would be different.
Yeah, because
so it's really interesting.
In the moment, I didn't think it wasn't like I was craving that side of the story. Like I could have had it end without that, but having that sort of appear at the end.
It's great. Yeah. It's just another great layer of information to this weird story, and it's like, well, that kind of makes sense in a way. This guy's so messed up.
Yeah.
And he just has all this money, but he isn't happy, obviously, and hasn't been happy for most of his life. It's super, super fascinating.
And it's that's almost the most frightening thing about the documentary, right? Is just the power of money. Like what he can get away with just because he has cash. Like you see that in films and stuff all the time, and you're like, it's probably, in the end you get caught if you do something bad. But this is almost proves that wrong. He's gotten away with it for so long. I'm interested to know, did you clue on that it was probably a guy that was behind the whole tickling?
Yeah, empire? I did. Before it was revealed, I can't remember at which stage, but it felt like it was obvious that the liaison was a fake person, that woman originally. So I had a feeling that it was a dude, and it was some sexual thing, some weird sort of fetish thing. But I can't remember at what stage. Was that a big surprise to you?
No, yes and no. I picked early on that it was probably a guy that was behind it, but because I picked it quite early, my mindset was still not where the film ended up going. I still thought it was just going to be some weird sex thing and not some really sinister blackmail fucking worldwide tickling empire.
Yeah.
The breadth of it is unbelievable.
It is, when you find out that they're just literally all over the world. What the hell is he doing with all the videos as well?
It's so weird. Yeah. He just must have this terabytes worth of hard drives of all this stuff, just constantly wanking over it.
Seriously, yeah. It's more than anyone needs.
How much variations of tickling can there be? Do you know what I mean?
I suppose it has become more about the power of it.
Yeah, well, I think
and keeping it going, rather than the actual outcome of getting horny.
That's actually the other really interesting thing. I think that's where it pivots towards the final third of the film, and it becomes not so much about him wanting tickling videos. It's about him wanting power over people, and he gets off on like fucking with them, basically.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
in like a really like nasty way too. Like it's not.
Yeah.
There's no. It's not like he's getting anything out of it other than the satisfaction that he's like fucking people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're hardly ever doing anything that bad to him either. You know, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or can you please take that down?
Clearly got enough.
Well, that's it. Your life's ruined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he must have enough tickling videos, right? What's he losing? Like one of his trillion videos.
That's right.
That's crazy.
But
I actually, and similarly to how they portray him in like a more rounded light, I liked how they had the interview with that other like tickling fetishist guy.
Yeah.
And it was just presented so positively, and he was just so nice. Like he was such a nice dude. Like I'd like to hang out with him and like chat to him about his weird tickling shit. Like he was just so cool and cash about it, you know, just chatting to them about what he likes. I really like that.
It's just another example of it's another example of how it covers all its bases, the movie. And seemingly just through great instinct that these guys have for telling stories, like journalistic stories. You know, it all feels very, I don't know what the word is, low budget, I suppose, like where they were, we'll go and do this now, and now we'll go and do this. It didn't feel like there was a master plan, but instinctually they picked up such great information and knew, like, by doing that, by having that guy there, you're not ostracizing people who might have a weird fetish, you know, just like, haha, you're weird. You know, it's funny, and it's, you know, it is
a bit weird,
played as quirky, and it is weird, but it's not this hugely cynical thing when they meet that guy. It's like, oh well, this is what he's into, and look, it's funny because it's tickling is funny. You see people laugh, and then you laugh. But you know, then it helps then when they're going after this other guy who's just a prick.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because it's like, even if the videos, like you said, are a bit weird and funny, the people that like them aren't necessarily weird. Like, it gives them a clear conscience. It's not like they're just after this guy because he's into this weird thing or this unusual thing. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Though the one thing that I found slightly odd, and whether this is just the sheer coincidence of it all, but maybe it's also the way it's handled, but right at the end of the film where it's just like, oh, then we logged onto his website and found every document he's ever fucking had that's relevant to this documentary just saved on like a FTP or whatever it was.
Crazy.
Then it just like goes, here's some documents, and then that's kind of the end of the film. Like, one, I think that should have been a bigger deal, and two, it just felt like odd that he would save like all his documents on a server that's like accessible. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's all innocent and they did find it, but it also made me think like, because his mate is like Johnny Computer Hacker, like did they just like hack him and then just like had to come up with a way that they could legally show these files that they pulled off his like personal I don't know, it just felt like a little convenient. It was really odd.
It is odd. When I saw it, there was a Q&A.
Really? Did you? I didn't know they were there.
Yeah. So it was only very short, like 10 minutes after the movie, but
cool.
Yeah, they were talking about that, and it was I've got to remember now. Quite a few of the websites would just have that directory thing, and they would just periodically check them to see. I can't remember why they were doing that. But apparently that it's true. Like he had allowed access to this folder. Yeah, I think it's like not even necessarily the server. It's like your computer that you're hosting stuff from. You have certain folders that you share on the directory or something, and somehow his thing, My Documents or whatever, got accidentally
shared with the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was something like that. and they just immediately like downloaded all of it, because once it's up, you know, I think it's like
it's fair game. Whatever,
you're sort of it's fair game in a way, yeah, because it's like, well, you put it up, so
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, they were also very careful, like in a joking way, but they were like very careful about what they were saying, because they said like, so they're like, you know, he's trying to sue them left, right, and center for
fucking bet he is.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so I would say if they're saying that, then it would have to be how it happened.
That's interesting.
Otherwise getting a lot of shit.
Well, that sort of brings me back to what I was saying, in the sense that maybe it's just the filmmaking that makes me feel uneasy, because they didn't make a big deal about it. It felt like it should have been like an enormous reveal, perhaps like 10 minutes before they actually reveal it, and spool it out a little bit more, and really like, I mean, that seems like a fucking goldmine. Like that like busts open the whole case. Like I feel like that should be almost the peak of the film, but it's kind of like this footnote at the end. It's just a little bit odd the way it's handled.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, it potentially leads to him being charged with all this stuff, because it's, you know, all the documents are there. But yeah, it's doesn't quite pay off in that way. But yeah, it's a awesome film.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad I wasn't spoiled. It's actually keeping in relevant to the podcast. I retroactively watched the full trailer of the film after I saw it, and holy shit, it gives away like almost everything. Like, have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't watched it. No.
Yeah, it goes like it fully like goes down the rabbit hole in terms of the sinisterness, and someone, I don't think they reveal it as a male, but it's definitely the Jane, whatever the company name is that he's, you know, pretending to be or whatever, and goes down like the blackmail route and how people are getting blackmailed and all that sort of stuff. So I guess you don't get the reveal as to who it actually is, but I don't know, like you can almost, maybe it's because I've seen it, but I can feel like you almost can piece it together, and maybe, I mean, we both guessed that it was a guy to start with anyway. I think you probably would, even just from watching the trailer, which is a bit disappointing, because I think that might lead to people being a bit underwhelmed when they see the film, because there's not many other big reveals.
It's one of those things that's really hard, that they managed to do well with Catfish, which was the marketing was, you'll never guess what happens, or whatever it is. It was something like that. They almost need to do the same thing with this, but it's hard because a lot of people are just like, whatever, you know, I don't care.
Yeah.
So you need to show stuff to get people in, but you don't want to show too much.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of disappointing, actually, because I think this is more important than Catfish. Like, I love Catfish as well, but that's just very much a small snippet of one weird person's fucked up internet life, whereas this is someone that's fucked with like so many lives, that deserves to be like exposed for what he's done, you know. Anyway. So yeah, I loved it.
Top film.
It probably will be in my top films of the year discussion that we have. I think.
It's just a great you know, above everything else, or under everything else, whichever way you want to place it. It's just a great experience to watch it, you know. It's just a great narrative, and it's just like a roller coaster of a experience. So
yeah,
it's worth seeing just on that level.
Definitely. Completely agree.